There was a time when summer days stretched forever, and kids played outside until the streetlights came on. We didn't have smartphones, but we had imagination and some truly wild toys. Back in the 1970s, toy safety was, let's just say, a little more relaxed. We had toys that sparked, toys that exploded, and even toys that could slice your finger if you weren't careful. Today, we're looking at 10 toys from the 1970s that would never be allowed today. They were dangerous, exciting, and unforgettable. Number 1. Darts. Nothing says family fun like hurling giant metal darts across the yard. These lawn darts were weighted with pointed metal tips and meant to land in plastic rings. But all too often, they landed in someone's leg or worse. By the late 80s, after dozens of serious injuries, they were banned for good. Still, if you grew up with darts, you probably remember dodging them like your life depended on it. Number 2. Clackers. 2 acrylic balls on a string. How dangerous could it be? Clackers were all the rage in the early 70s. The idea was to get the balls smacking together rhythmically above and below your hand. But when they shattered mid-play, shards of hard plastic went flying like glass. Schools eventually banned them, but not before a few bruises and near-death. Number 3. Creepy crawlers. This one felt like magic. Pour goop into metal molds, cook them, and pop out rubbery bugs. The original Creepy Crawlers kit used a real heating element, basically an open hot plate. Kids would reach for their creations and touch scorching hot metal. Burns were common, but we didn't care. It was science, it was fun, and it definitely wouldn't pass safety checks today. Number 4. Battlestar Galactica. Missile. These toys looked awesome. Tiny spaceships that shot red plastic missiles. But after a tragic choking incident in 1978, Mattel had to recall the toy and redesign future models. It was a turning point in toy safety standards. If you had one before the recall, you held onto it, tightened and pointed at your little. Number 5. Slap bracelets. Technically, these came around in the late 80s, but they lived on playgrounds that still felt like the 70s. They were simple, a spring-loaded metal band, wrapped in colorful fabric that slapped onto your wrist. But cheaper versions used thin, sharp metal that sometimes tore through the fabric and skin. It went from fashion trend to banned object in record time. Number 6. The Gilbert U.S. You heard that right. This science kit actually came with real radioactive materials, marketed in the early 1950s but remembered through the decades. It was still talked about in the 70s as the wildest toy ever made. It let kids experiment with uranium or complete with a Geiger counter. It sounds unbelievable now, but at the time, it was seen as educational, until people realized it was also, dangerous. Number 7. Stretch Armstrong. Kids loved stretching his arms as far as they couldn't. He snapped. Inside was a sticky, syrup-like goo that was oddly satisfying to touch and impossible to clean. While not deadly, it caused enough household messes to make parents furious. Some even said the filling caused rashes, though Stretch lived on. As a cult favorite. Number 8. Mini hammocks. These looked like harmless backyard fun, but without proper spreader bars, these mini hammocks would twist and trap kids. By the late 70s, dozens of tragic accidents forced a full recall. It's a haunting example of how something simple could go terribly wrong. Today, we rarely see them, but those who grew up with them still remember the thrill and the danger. Number 9. The CSI fingerprint kit. This one is almost too wild to believe. A toy meant to teach kids about crime scene investigation actually used real asbestos in the powder. The kit was pulled from shelves once the health risks became widely known, but not before it made its way into thousands of homes. Imagine finding that in your childhood closet today. Number 10. Kenosha. It baked real cakes with a light bulb, but the metal trays got hot. Many kids ended up with burned fingers or worse. Later, models added safety features, but the early versions, they were like mini toasters in pastel colors. Still, the smell of that tiny cake cooking is something you never forget. Toys today are safer, cleaner, and let's be honest, a little less wild. But if you grew up in the 70s, you remember when playtime came with a side of risk. We learned, we got scraped up, and we survived to tell the tale. If this trip down memory lane brought back some of your favorite childhood toys or a few close calls, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Memory Lane USA. And hey, let us know, what dangerous toy did you grow up with?